Welcome to Ultimate Survival Gear. Today, as you guys can see, I have something else from Columbia. Haven't reviewed anything from Columbia in a while, so let's get into it. As you guys can see, this is a brand new Columbia Ivo or Ivo. Doesn't matter how you pronounce it properly. What matters is if it's good or not. Well, let's take it out of the box and we're gonna start. I'm gonna start this review by mentioning that this is not a regular hiking shoe review. No, this review is specifically for my Ultimate Survival boots section. Yes, and I know these are not boots, these are shoes, but they're basically in this category, right, of survival footwear. Okay, so if this wasn't just your regular hiking shoe, if something bad happened and maybe you were hiking in these, or maybe you were out on a date, I don't know, wearing these, and all of a sudden zombie apocalypse, or I don't know, the wrong president got elected and the country is going to hell, or I don't know, they're trying to put some experimental drug inside of you, I don't know, whatever, just use your imagination. It's not so hard these days. And this is the shoe that you were wearing, and you had to survive. You had to run away from people that you thought are going to protect you. And on the way, you had to protect the people that are around you. You had to fight. You had to climb. You had to all of a sudden become this badass commando trying to save the whole world, right? And these are the shoes. These are the shoes that you were wearing. They were on you. That's it. This is it right here. You don't have anything else. This is the shoes. Would they be good? Would you truly be a badass in these shoes? Or would they get you simply killed? Well, how do we make the judgment? We make the judgment based on 8 different criteria. Let's begin. Criteria number 1. Comfort level. And in order to test comfort level of all the boots and shoes that I review on this channel, I do a 3-mile run non-stop and then a 5-mile walk, again non-stop, no pauses in between, and then I continue wearing the shoes. Once I'm done with that, I continue wearing them for the rest of the day. Sometimes it's really hard because I freaking do it with some work boots or something heavy, but not this time. Not this time. These are actually unbelievably comfortable. Columbia, man, these guys don't know anything about politics, but they know a lot about the comfort level. I mean, absolutely fantastic comfort level in these shoes. Running in them was a breeze. All right, so let's start from the beginning. Why? Why is the comfort so good? Well, let me get the scale and we will get this thing out of the way, because the weight is obviously very important. This is, by the way, size 10, and size 10 is 13.6. 13.6 obviously is very, very lightweight. Now, to give you the reference numbers, you are looking for something under 20 ounce if lightweight is important to you. So as long as it's under 20 ounce, it's gonna be more or less lightweight. The more under 20 ounce it is, the lighter. The more over 20 ounce, that's where you get into that heavyweight category, right? The more, the heavier. And then you start feeling the fatigue, especially if you're running. But then again, even if you're walking, anything over 3 miles, 5 miles mark, you start feeling that weight on your feet, all right? So anything extensive. In a survival situation, I mean, in a normal full-time kind of full-day hike, if you were hiking for several days, for example, you would probably cover about between 8 to 12 miles. If you're very experienced, you probably can cover a little bit more if you're prepared for that. And depending on obviously what kind of hike it is, how complicated the trail is, but any kind of average trail, look at around 10 miles mark. So imagine 10 miles mark in something. That's pretty, that's pretty serious. So on the weight, definitely pretty good. But let's move on to the flexibility of the outsole. That's another thing that's very important and contributes to the comfort. And as you can see here, while it's pretty bulky, it does give you a lot of protection, which we'll talk about later. It still has a good, very, very good flexibility, and you can actually run properly in these shoes. In fact, I would not have any problem using these shoes as trail running shoes. Yes, there are much better options in my opinion, more lightweight. and just better suited for the trail run. But in case if you do need to run, if you're just on a hike and you're not escaping something, whatever, maybe you're just escaping a bear, well, at least a bear is not trying to put anything experimental in you. So well, it depends, except the teeth, but the teeth are not experimental, they're natural, so that's fine. But you get the point. You can run in these, no problem. All right, let's move on to the inner sole. That's another thing that contributes to the comfort level. And I'm gonna try to take it out and show it to you. And the inner sole is very basic, nothing much. Not much of, not much, nothing, no heel bed, no arch support, keep that in mind. But overall, it's just nice and spongy. Nothing crazy about the inner sole, very basic. Once you remove it, it goes straight into the midsole, that's it. But this gives you enough of impact protection, so you're fine. You have some padding on the tongue, you have some by the way, this is made in Vietnam, which I kind of like, and then the padding a little bit in the shaft, and then once you go inside of the shoe, you also have this very soft material, very nice from the inside. It's very, very comfortable. Overall comfort level is great. Okay, let's move on to the criteria number 2, proofing and protection. So yes, these are indeed waterproof. There you go. Come on, camera. One day you can do it. Maybe a few months, and you can do it. If you can read it, waterproof. Yes, these are waterproof. Honestly, personally, this is just my personal opinion. So don't be upset if you prefer waterproof shoes. I don't see a point of having a waterproof shoes, and I'll explain why. Because the ruler, all right? Not the kind of ruler that we have in the White House, but the regular ruler that you measure stuff. Here, as you can see, the gusseting of the tongue is so low. It's about right here, and that's really what you measure from. You measure 2 points, right, to check the waterproofing clearance. We got about 3.5 inches of waterproofing from the gusseting of the tongue, and then about less than 3.5 inches lowest point of the shoe. So you only have 3.5 inches. Basically, if you step anything over that, you get wet. So your whole waterproofing goes out the window. I mean, even the splash. I mean, imagine how easy for just a splash of water to get into it. And the downside with the waterproof shoes is that they take way longer than non-waterproof shoes to dry out. So it's very easy to get them wet, but it's not easy to get them dry. So whenever it comes to shoes, I personally prefer to have non-waterproof shoes. But again, it's a personal preference. Don't, if you like waterproof shoes, there you go. Why not? Okay. Now, protection-wise, again, there is not much from the outside. Obviously, nothing protecting ankles. Your ankles are wide open. In the toe box, there is not much. I mean, there is this material, kind of suede leather looking like material. It does give you a little bit of kind of reinforcement, not a big deal. Same thing with the heel, it's reinforced, not much. From the outsole, obviously you have this much of the midsole to kind of give you clearance of the ground, so you have decent amount of protection for a shoe. All right, for a shoe, that's definitely good. Let's move on to the criteria number 3, quality and the design features. Quality wise, I love Columbia. Now, one of my main hiking boots that I use it on a very serious hike. I hiked along the Appalachian Trail, one of the hardest parts of the Appalachian Trail in those Columbia boots. It was it's the Newton Ridge 2 Plus, whatever. You know which one I'm talking about, guys. I have the review here, so check it out if you want. One of the first reviews I made, in fact. It's fantastic. I mean, it's still holding on so good. I'll probably do another review just to kind of give you an update. But it's a great boot, quality-wise. Now, sometimes there is hit and miss quality control-wise. So, I mean, it's the case with any big brand like Columbia. But overall, I mean, even judging by the reviews of this shoe, people do like it. And I mean, there are a lot of reasons why you should like this shoe. It really is pretty good. Now, the design features here, I talk about the lacing system. It's very basic. It's really, I mean, to me, this is as good as really all I need. It's nice, thick, round strings. The hooks are, there are no open hooks, all of them are closed hooks, in fabric closed hooks, so that's fine. And you have an extra pair on the top if you want that extra kind of hold up here. So overall lacing system pretty good. Let's move on to the criteria number 4, outsole traction and stability. Now this is where things get interesting. Whenever I do my run and my walk, I do that on a variety of surfaces, obviously, to test the outsole. I start with older asphalt, then the newer tarmac, then dry sand, wet sand, dry grass, wet grass, rocky road, trail surface, I think I already said it. And the concrete, and then the marble tile, rubber, and the rock wool. Okay, overall, the design of this outsole is fantastic. I love it. It's very, very aggressive, and I do prefer a little bit more aggression than more flatness. Okay, as you can see, this is pretty aggressive, but at the same time, it's pretty flat. So when you are on the sand, it does handle pretty good as well as on the grass. Now the only problem with this outsole is that these parts, the blue rubber part, not the black rubber. The black rubber is a little bit more tougher than the blue rubber. At least that's what it feels like. I might be wrong, it might be the same rubber, but at least it feels like this is a little bit tougher than this, because as you can see, because these are so aggressive and long, and let my freaking camera focus for once. Come on. As you can see, these move really badly. So what that gives you is when you are running, especially on flat surfaces, and you stop quickly, it kind of gives you that wobble. All right, so keep that in mind. Now Columbia, I understand it's a cheaper brand, cheaper shoe, so they use the cheaper rubber, but usually that's the problem. If it's not a high quality hard rubber on the outsole itself, then you have a little bit of that flexibility. You can't go too much, too long and too aggressive on these grooves, because then they become this just way too, as you can see, this is unacceptable. This is way too bendable. They shouldn't be like that. So keep that in mind. It's not gonna affect you too much unless you're going, for example, downhill fast and you're trying to slow down, or you're running on a flat surface and you're trying to stop quickly or something like that. You will feel a little bit of the wobble. Just to keep that in mind. Not a huge deal, but that's why I do reviews, to point everything out. Let's move on to the criteria number 5, temperature. Excellent in the hot weather, very nice, very breathable, obviously. Even with the waterproofing, still breathable. Cold temperatures, no point to talk about this here, because this is not a winter boot or anything like that. This is just a shoe. Will it handle good in the snow? Yes. Will it handle good on the ice? No, because this is not really, there's really not much of anything that can handle good on the ice unless it's an ice boot. So pointless to talk about that here. Let's move on to the criteria number 6, sizing. Yes, these are true to the size, no problems there. Get yourself half a size bigger though, so you have a little bit of extra space in the toe box, just for extra comfort. You'll thank me later. All right, let's move on to the criteria number 7, balance of application. Okay, so you're sitting there on a date, right? And all of a sudden, these armed and men in black, they walk up to your date and to you, and they're like, "Your papers, sir. Your papers. Give me your papers. You're sitting in a restaurant. You need to have papers," right? And you're like, "What? What kind of freaking papers? I'm on a date, bro. What are you doing? You're ruining my date." And they're like, "No, you have to have a papers. We're gonna arrest you." So of course you're not gonna let your date be arrested and yourself be arrested. So you fight back and you get out of there and you run, and then you survive, right? That's it. The movie starts. You are surviving, okay? In these, would they be good? Honestly, if you are a fan of shoes, hiking shoes that are waterproof, and you're looking for something on a budget, all right? That's the key word here. Budget friendly. This is great. This is, compared to a lot of other hiking shoes that are reviewed on this channel, that more in like 100, 150 range, this can easily compete with that. Now, how long this will last you in different situations, quality-wise, hard to tell, depending on what you're doing. That's really why I don't get into the situations like this. For example, my Columbia boots, they lasted me already almost 3 years, and I put them through hell, all right? And they're doing fantastic. Nothing is ripped, nothing is unglued, so yeah, pretty good. But again, it depends on how you personally use your shoes. So if this matches your criteria, right? If this matches your kind of category, because for me personally it's the mid-size boot, mid-size waterproof boot that is lightweight, comfortable, with a very similar outsole. That's my preference. That's it. That's what I would wear. So if this matches what you prefer, then this is a really good option. And speaking of budget, that brings me to the last criteria here, the price criteria number 8. Wow, $78, $75, you can get these shoes right now on Amazon. The links are in the description below, and that's very impressive. I mean, very good price for a waterproof hiking shoe as good as this, as comfortable, as lightweight as this. This is really good. I mean, if you're looking for something comparable from something like La Sportiva or Salomon or Jack Wolf or what else good hiking shoes are out there, Adidas, you are looking probably at least $120, $130, if not $150, $160. All right, depending on what model you're buying. If you're buying something new, something that is newer on the market, you're probably looking at something $150, $160. So this is a great option. That's like half the price, considering that. So if this is you and you want to save money, this is a really good option. And if you're just some random hiking person that doesn't really care about all this ultimate survival stuff, yeah, I love this. I mean, comfort wise, this is fantastic. Maybe you would want to upgrade the inner sole, just to give you a little bit more of a, not a little bit more, just to give you, because there is nothing here, just to give you some heel bed for heel support and some arch support. But other than that, this is pretty good. So let me know in the comments below, guys, what do you think about this shoe? What do you think about this review? If you found this review useful, please consider subscribing. That would be helpful. If you want to help me even more, please consider joining the membership on this channel. It's only 99 cents a month, but it definitely helps me quite a lot to bring more reviews to this channel. Thank you very much, guys, for watching. I appreciate your time. I'll see you guys in the next video.